So, good afternoon. I will talk about part of the research that was carried out during the Moxy project. And it is about an elicitation study. Now, elicitation research is a type of research that uses bottom-up methodologies that try to gather information from end users and stakeholders. And this is used in a variety of fields, has been used for years, from anthropology to computer sciences, from psychology to management, product development, and so on. And we decided to import this type of research into our project because we are planning to develop a new technology for cleaning works of art. And so we wanted to learn from our end users and stakeholders what are their needs, what are the technological features that are desirable in such a new tool, and also what would be the factors at play in adopting a new technology. So as a methodology, we decided to use semi-structured interviews to different informants. We had conservators, we also had conservation scientists, conservation scientists, and we had people coming from Europe and the US. We would like to extend more the number of informants, also reaching to more countries, also outside Europe, in Asia and Africa possibly, and Australia. And also we had people coming from different institutions, so museums, university, research institutions, conservation institutions, and we also had private practitioners and people with different backgrounds, with different expertise, from textiles to archaeological objects, paintings, metals, and so on. So I'm a chemist, so at the beginning of this task, I was kind of worried because I'm coming from a completely different background. The thing is that it has been a very, very interesting type of research for me. I've learned really a lot from this exchange with people, and I think that we managed to gather some very interesting and helpful input from our informants. And that's why I think that it would be really great to keep talking with you, with people, to learn more and direct more efficiently the efforts of our research. So the elicitation study starts at the very, very beginning of the project because we wanted to give input that could be used for the development of the atomic oxygen system. There were several questions and several aspects that were being discussed. I will not go into details with everything. I will only discuss a few aspects. First of all, one of the first things that always came into the discussion was the size of the spot of interaction between the flux of atomic oxygen and the surface of the object. Now, because it's a non-contact cleaning method, of course, the first thing that came to mind to everyone was laser cleaning. So always, every informant was envisaging a very small spot of interaction between the atomic oxygen and the surface, like in laser cleaning. And also, everyone was thinking about a nozzle that would be easy to manipulate in order to follow the irregularities of the surface and to reach the different angles that such irregularities would cause on the surface of the object. Another thing that was very interesting is the fact that for the vast majority of the informants, everyone was speaking of the fact that they would feel comfortable with something that is handheld, so that they could check exactly what they are doing, and also that they could visually inspect at any time what they were doing and what were the effects on the object. So this information, of course, together with the research and the knowledge of the groups of Eindhoven and Ghent, brought to the development of our prototype that has been tested and from which our experimentation so far has been carried out. The thing is that I have a fantastic public of potential informants, and as someone else, I can resist anything with the exception of temptation. So I could not resist the temptation to ask you questions. So if you scan this code and you insert this number, then you should be able to answer my questions. I hope that everything works. And if you lose it, you can reconnect because there is always the QR code for every slide. So, you ready? So, okay, so listen first. So the thing is that it is possible, in principle, we have been learning in this 2 years what are the potentials and the limitations, and we are learning that it's actually possible to build a wider nozzle. This would allow a wider surface of interaction between the atomic oxygen and the object. Now, thank you. So now the thing is that this could be very useful because it would allow us to act much faster in cleaning the object. And I'm thinking, for example, in the case of a big object and a fire, so we need to act quickly and remove a first layer of soot from the object. And this would give us the possibility of doing so. Of course, I don't mean a system that only has got a wider nozzle, but the possibility of interchanging the smaller one and the bigger one. So, okay, thank you. And I'm moving to the next. Okay, so people is moving faster than me. So the thing is that if I think of this option, I can also think in the case of a fire, for example, the possibility of intervening in the case of an emergency. There is a fire and we need to reach difficult places that are maybe far away, or maybe it is not safe for the operator. And so if we could combine the atomic oxygen with a robotic arm and, for example, a camera, this would enable us to work in these conditions. Or another possibility would be a very big object like a big textile that is very, very fragile. So rather than moving it and subjecting it to mechanical stress, we could act remotely. So how would you feel? Would you feel comfortable with using such a system? Is this working or not? Do I have to activate? Now? Okay. Okay, thank you. So I will keep going, and then at the end you can also ask to get the results of this, so you can monitor yourself the total votes, let's say. So during the study, we did not discuss only technological features of the system, but also we discussed aspects that would have been useful in the experimental part, when we were testing the cleaning, the actual cleaning with atomic oxygen and the effect of atomic oxygen and so on. So there were several aspects again that were discussed, but one of them was, some of them were related to problematic materials and substrates that are difficult to clean, or different soiling types that are actually difficult to remove with traditional techniques, or again, conservation issues that cannot be solved with traditional methods and would benefit from the development of new materials or new methodologies. So, what I would like to ask you is to contribute to this by writing 1 or 2 word maximum conservation issue or difficult soiling type, so that we can build a word cloud and see what comes. I need to activate it. For example, speaking with our informant, a common problem was, also as Katarina was saying before, water sensitivity or underbound paints, or for example, finger marks or residues of tape, or the casting skin in plaster. So, okay, thank you. While we build our word cloud, I will keep speaking about the impact of this type of information, because it helped us to choose the materials we wanted to focus on, to choose the type of dirt that was, for example, interesting to investigate, and also to plan the experimental work in the testing plan, in the production of the materials, in the artificial aging plan, and the artificial sooting plan. It was also great because people was very generous and often shared with us suggestions on experimental setups, or also, for example, on materials that we could actually use for preparing our samples. It is also important to acknowledge the fact that in every discussion, every time there was this issue about the effect of atomic oxygen on the object, and the issue of the propagation of oxidation, the propagation of radicals. And that, again, informed our activities, because starting also from this input, we have been building on the plan for benchmarking the technique, comparing it with other methodologies that are used by our informants, but also the work that is being done on artificial aging and on the evaluation of the effect of atomic oxygen on the objects in the short term and in the long term. So, okay, I'm almost finished. Before I close, first of all, I'm asking if you are interested in participating to the elicitation study. If you contact me, I will come back to you, because, as I said, it would be nice and great to extend. Also, we have new questions as the project progresses, so please let me know. And I will leave you with 2 questions that relate to the green cluster in general. And first of all, how comfortable are you with the new materials and technologies that are being implemented? Of course, there is more research to be done, especially to the very new products, but in general, how do you feel about them? I understand that. That's why I think it is absolutely very important that we keep this systematic testing and these investigations from different layers, optical, visual, and then we need to go into more details, into the molecular level, and then we need to understand in the long term what are the effects. Do they propagate or do they mitigate, for example, with time? And the last one is this one here. And so how important is for you that our field becomes more sustainable and environmentally friendly? And so while I let you answer to this question, I'll wait for your questions. It's your turn now, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ilaria. There's still numbers coming in here. So as we wait, do people have any questions about the elicitation? Michaelis? I participated in it myself, and I thought it was very interesting.
So regarding the nozzle, you mentioned about wanting to make the diameter larger. Mm-hmm. I would suggest to keep it as it is, mainly because if we change the diameter, we change the discharge, which means we need higher currents to sustain the same amount of chemical products, which potentially will lead to higher temperatures. One way that I have thought to deal with this is to use the shielding gas as an agent of actually spreading it. So by using shielding gas, we can actually have sort of the same effect. And this is what I'm trying to, this is part of my research now. But changing the nozzle is quite tricky, I would say, at this point. I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Is it good? I have a question. Oh, one more.
Sorry.
I am thinking that the whole exercise is thinking out of the box, if I'm not mistaken. So what challenges do we as conservators have for the scientists and the other way around? So I'm guessing that it's a tricky and difficult conversation, because you have to also overcome the different languages that we speak as conservators, researchers, whatever, educators. So I would just say thank you for doing that and for taking your time. It's very time consuming, and it takes good dinners and yeah, good collaboration.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it is true. I mean, there is always this discussion about the fact that we speak somehow different languages, but it's more about, I think, explaining how experimentation is carried out. That there is sometimes this conception that I come with a sample and then, can you answer this question? Well, not really. It depends, and so there is always the discussion about the methodology and how do we set things up in order to answer the question that you ask, and so that's why it's really very important to have these conversations.
Thank you, Ilaria.